According to international sources, Xi Jinping may be facing a dramatic turn of events within his own party. Two critical mistakes, his sweeping consolidation of power and pushing China into open confrontation with the West, are said to have pushed the party elites, especially the Princelings, to the breaking point. Reports suggest that Xi is now under covert surveillance, though he has recently launched a counterattack. His wife, Peng Liyuan, has vanished from the public eye. Putin, not even a birthday greeting. His trip to Kazakhstan was met with a significant downgrade in diplomatic protocol. Is Xi Jinping gradually being sidelined? Some say his final destination could even be Moscow. Truth or rumor? Let's explore the full story in today's program. Xi Jinping's health, rumor or political ploy? First, let's talk about the bombshell dropped by the Telegram channel General SVR, a self-proclaimed group run by former Russian intelligence agents, known for leaking explosive insider information from the Kremlin. Surprisingly, in June this year, the channel shifted its focus to Zhongnanhai, releasing a stunning claim. Between May 25th and 26th, Xi Jinping allegedly suffered a heart attack, followed by 2 more angina episodes in the first week of June. Then, on June 12th, General SVR escalated things further, declaring that the China-Russia alliance is on shaky ground due to Xi's health issues, and that the Chinese Communist Party could soon undergo a power transition. According to them, the next leader would be more open-minded and liberal than Xi and his circle, potentially paving the way for China to find common ground with the West. A shift like that would be unfavorable for both Russia and Iran. What do you think? Is this news credible? Personally, I believe there may be a grain of truth to Xi's health concerns, but it feels more like icing on the cake. Eye-catching, yet not the main story. In Chinese politics, a leader's health is an ultra-sensitive topic, often exaggerated or manipulated to mask deeper political schemes. If Xi were truly in poor health, how did he manage to fly to Kazakhstan right on schedule, even as the Middle East was in chaos? Could this all be a calculated distraction, designed to keep the public speculating about Xi's heart, while major moves are being made behind closed doors? Let's dig deeper. Xi Jinping's trip to Kazakhstan. A decoy or a strategic diversion? Let's take a closer look at Xi Jinping's recent trip to Kazakhstan, which took place just after his 72nd birthday. This wasn't just an ordinary diplomatic visit. It felt more like a carefully staged, downgraded performance, full of subtle signals. Here are a few unusual details that raise serious questions. 1. A trip at a highly sensitive time. On June 16th, Israel launched a third wave of airstrikes on Tehran, even hitting Iran's national broadcaster mid-broadcast. Donald Trump publicly urged Americans to leave Tehran immediately. Amid all this chaos, Xi Jinping was calmly sipping tea in Kazakhstan. No public statement, no return to Beijing. For someone in his position, one would expect him to remain in Zhongnanhai to directly coordinate policy, or at the very least, address the public. But instead, Xi remained in Kazakhstan, silent and seemingly unconcerned during a major geopolitical crisis involving a key ally. Under normal diplomatic protocol, when a strategic partner like Iran faces such turmoil, a national leader would either postpone or shorten their trip. Xi did neither. He flew on time, to the minute, and stayed for the full schedule. 2. Strip-down ceremony. For the past 12 years, every one of Xi's overseas trips has been grand. Opinion pieces in local papers, elaborate welcome ceremonies, bilateral summits. But this time, no published articles, no fanfare, not even a red carpet, just a cheap anti-slip mat at the airport. His wife, Peng Liyuan, was also noticeably absent, breaking the usual happy family image. All of this suggests that Xi was no longer being treated like a head of state at the peak of power. Number 3. Missing arrival footage. CCTV, which usually broadcasts close-up footage of Xi stepping off the plane to prove his vitality, completely omitted that segment. Why? Is his health genuinely deteriorating, or did he appear physically unwell, prompting the party to censor the images? 4. Xi pushed aside. Xi, once considered Xi's right-hand man, was not only absent during the document exchange ceremony with Kazakh President Tokayev, but was also seated far from Xi during their meeting. The distance was so great that an extra chair could have fit between them. This is a stark contrast to previous events, where Xi was always close at hand. Some might say the arrangement was for better camera angles, but the Kazakh officials didn't have similar spacing, and other cameras were present from different sides. This seemed like an intentional snub. Could Kaichi have lost the trust of key figures within the party, or is he entangled in some scandal, prompting the leadership to distance him from Xi? 5. Diminished welcome protocol. Kazakhstan didn't send its influential Deputy Prime Minister Sklyar to welcome Xi. Instead, a lower-ranking official was dispatched. Last year, President Tokayev hosted a lavish dinner for Xi. This year, a simple reception with clearly downgraded treatment. 6. Omission of health wish in state media. During his speech, Tokayev wished Xi good health, yet Chinese state media edited out that part. If it were just a polite gesture, why cut it? The sensitivity surrounding the phrase further suggests that Xi's health may now be a taboo subject within the party. And then, on June 18th, Chinese state media made a big show. Xi had signed a treaty of good neighborliness and friendly cooperation with 5 Central Asian countries, along with a massive aid package, 1.5 billion yuan in non-repayable assistance for social development, plus 3,000 training scholarships over the next 2 years. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the catch. China's economy is crumbling. Unemployment is rampant. Many families can't even afford basic food. Businesses are collapsing. Yet instead of using those funds to support domestic recovery, the CCP is giving away over $1 billion yuan to countries that are arguably more stable than China. This reflects the CCP's real nature. For them, the lives of ordinary citizens mean little, but saving face matters at all costs. Consider this. Before 2020, Xi reportedly spent over $8.77 trillion US in foreign aid and investments. $400 billion to Russia, $65 billion to Venezuela, $60 billion to Africa. Massive sums. But now, just 1.5 billion yuan, less than 250 million USD. That's pocket change by comparison. It's like a man who once spent money like water, now left with only a few coins in his pocket. Could it be that Xi no longer has free rein over state finances? Perhaps internal party factions have clipped his wings, limiting his spending. Are the party's Princelings and other powerful forces preparing to sideline him once and for all? Princelings in revolt. Is Xi Jinping about to be toppled? Now let's get to the main drama. The Princelings, the so-called red nobility of the Chinese Communist Party, are reportedly joining forces to push Xi Jinping out before the 21st Party Congress. According to the sharp-witted political commentator Professor Yuan Hongbing, factions within the Princelings have reached a consensus: Xi must go. The reasoning? 2 critical mistakes, clearly outlined by Kong Dan, former CEO of CITIC Group. Mistake number 1, breaking the power-sharing pact. The Princelings believe Xi shattered the CCP's unspoken rule that power must be shared among the descendants of the party's revolutionary elders. After the fall of the Soviet Union and Eastern Bloc, veterans like Chen Yun feared a similar collapse in China. To prevent this, they established an internal rule that both political and economic power should remain in the hands of their heirs, the Princelings. But once in power, Xi Jinping launched a brutal crackdown on fellow Princelings, hoarding power for himself and essentially turning the CCP into the House of Xi. He elevated loyalists like Kaichi, who has no red family background, and sidelined the party's dynastic elite. This enraged the Princelings. The result? Kaichi now appears to be on the sidelines, playing a mere supporting role with little real influence. At times, he shows up just for appearances, with no substantial tasks assigned. If Xi loses his grip on power, I'd wager Kai will be the first to fall. With no family backing, he's the perfect scapegoat for Xi's failures. What do you think? Is Kai destined to become the sacrificial lamb the Princelings will offer to settle the score? Mistake number 2. Wolf Warrior. Diplomacy that backfired. Xi's second blunder was abandoning Deng Xiaoping's doctrine of biding time and hiding strength in favor of an aggressive wolf warrior diplomacy that flaunted China's ambitions. The outcome? The West grew increasingly wary of the CCP. The one country, two systems framework for peacefully unifying with Taiwan became unworkable, and the Taiwan Strait now teeters on the brink of war. This not only created strategic headaches for Beijing, but posed a direct threat to the Princelings' massive overseas wealth, estimated in the tens of trillions of US dollars. If war breaks out or relations with the West deteriorate further, these assets could be frozen. That's a slice of cheese the Princelings will never give up. Kong Dan emphasized, if Xi continues to rule and pushes his war-centric Taiwan strategy, he's not just risking their fortunes, he's endangering the very survival of the CCP. The Princelings aren't just angry about losing influence, they're terrified of losing their money. They don't want the regime to collapse, but they no longer want Xi sitting at the top, steering it toward disaster. According to Yuan Hongbing, this information was passed on by an insider who fled to Australia shortly after attending a symposium on June 13th, commemorating the 120th birthday of Chen Yun. Outwardly, it was just a memorial event. Behind the scenes, it was a secret meeting of the Princelings, a war council where plans to unseat Xi were being laid out. Is Xi Jinping launching another counterattack? There are reports that between 10 p.m. on June 17 and 5 a.m. on June 18, Chinese police suddenly locked down Chang'an Avenue in Beijing. Not only was the reverse surveillance system along the street activated, but citizens were also banned from photographing traffic in that area. The CCP acted as though bracing for a major threat, but what exactly happened remains unclear. Could this signal that Xi Jinping is launching another counteroffensive? If so, we may soon see a new wave of purges targeting his allies. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. There have long been rumors that, after losing real power, Xi tried to stage comebacks through military loyalists like He Weidong and Miao Hua. Each attempt reportedly failed, and both men eventually fell from grace. Later, it was revealed that former vice-chairman of the Central Military Commission, Xu Jinping, also joined Xi's efforts, only to die suddenly of heart failure. According to recent information, Xi's current appearances are merely for show. He is said to be performing the role convincingly in hopes that once he steps down, he won't be politically eliminated. Meanwhile, General Zhang Yuxia is now in effective control of the military, backed by CCP elders. The current Politburo and Standing Committee are described as little more than a caretaker government, holding the line until a full leadership reshuffle takes place. According to Yao Cheng, a former lieutenant colonel in the PLA Navy Command, Zhang Yuxia has openly declared that he is now leading the Central Military Commission and acting as its chairman. Zhang is also reported to have made a tough statement. Any individual or faction that dares defy the orders of the new leadership of the Central Military Commission will be severely punished. Absolutely no tolerance. Sources say the new General Secretary has not yet been finalized, but the top contenders are Wang Yang, Wu Chenhua, and Ding Xuexiang. Once the new General Secretary, Politburo Standing Committee, and Politburo members are confirmed, the fourth plenary session of the 20th Central Committee will be convened. That meeting could take place as early as late July, or no later than the end of August, because the new leader is expected to preside over the military parade on September 3rd. Russia, Xi Jinping's final haven? In a worst-case scenario where Xi Jinping is forced to flee, where could he safely land? According to General SVR, an intriguing possibility is emerging. Russia, the new paradise for fallen autocrats. The families of Iran's leadership, Syria's Bashar al-Assad, all have reportedly sought refuge in Russia under tight protection from the FSB, Federal Security Service. Some are even granted tourist visas to obscure their identities. General SVR went so far as to mock the situation, saying that at this rate, Russia is turning into a dumping ground for deposed leaders and international fugitives. But here's the cruel irony. Inside the transparent prison of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi may not even have the luxury of fleeing like Assad or Khamenei. The CCP system has made him a full-time actor, entirely manipulated, stage-managed, and with no exit. A man once seen as untouchable at the top of China's power structure is now cornered by the very system he shaped. Isn't that a tragedy? Xi may have once thought of himself as emperor, but now he's perhaps just a pawn in a much bigger game. Dear friends, all signs suggest Xi now stands at a crossroads. His grip on power is no longer what it once was. Will he be forced to step down before the 21st Party Congress? Will Kaichi become the sacrificial pawn to appease the Princelings? And perhaps most crucially, will the CCP retreat to Deng Xiaoping's old path of hide your strength, bide your time, to to ease tensions with the West or double down on confrontation? Let's keep watching closely. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this analysis so we can keep the conversation going. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next video.